I'm wonderful. How are you?
Fantastic. We're so happy to have you here with us today.
My privilege for sure, ladies. You look beautiful.
Thank you. So
Too. Those glasses are
those glasses
phenomenal.
are amazing. Totally.
Oh, thank you. My daughter picked them out. She's 13, so she's my fashion coordinator today.
That's important.
She did a good job.
So Casey, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into the work that you're doing now.
Wow. Let's see. I'll give you a quick brief. I grew up wanting to be a teacher my whole life. I might have, because my mother's a teacher, right? We want to follow in our parents' footsteps, and she talked me out of it. She said, I don't want you to be a teacher because of the limited income, and that she had to struggle, and she didn't want me to struggle. And I so appreciated that. And I actually took her advice and decided I wanted a career that had influence, though. I was like, she said, teach kids at night. You love children. So I would coach softball and coach basketball. And then I said, but Mom, I want to do something that makes a difference. And she's like, well, sales. And I'm like, the part I loved about sales was that the harder you work, the more money you make. And that I wasn't going to be on a fixed income, and that I had the opportunity, because I said, if you're going to bet on somebody, you want to bet on yourself. So I bet on myself and went into sales in the mortgage business. I stumbled into the mortgage space, probably like almost everyone. Like, you don't really go up and go, oh, I think I'll be a loan officer. And I stumbled into it when I went to work for a savings and loan, and I'm dating myself a little bit because you could be hard pressed to find an S&L in this country. And I went to work for an S&L, and the mortgage, it wasn't even in the mortgage department. I was on the executive floor assisting all of the top executives, and a job got posted in the mortgage division. And I was so naive. I'm like, what's a mortgage? I was probably early 20 years old, I think, at the time. And they explained it to me. I'm like, oh, I want that job to go assist over there. So I went and became a department secretary, if you will, over there while I was going to school. So I was paying my way through school and working. And so I got to work at this S&L, and next thing you know, I'm in the mortgage division, and next thing you know, I'm writing the paychecks of the salespeople. And I'm like, whoa, what kind of sales job is this? Because they were making in a month, what I was making in a year. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, what kind of job is this? Now, I hadn't picked my career yet, and ended up finding this amazing mortgage career. As I asked them, I said, what do you do for a living, to the salespeople? And they all told me not to do the job. They all advised me against it. And when they told me that they help people buy homes, I literally stopped in my tracks and went, wait a minute. I can help people achieve the American dream. I'm in. This is easy for me. And every one of them to this day said, don't do it. And when I finally said, I'm going to lean in and I'm going to do it, they told me straight commission. I was like, okay, well, I'm single. I don't have any kids. And I'm like, what does it pay? And they told me nothing unless you sell something. And I'm like, okay, is anybody going to teach me? Nobody taught me. So I was the traditional LO, went in and figured it out. And lo and behold, I became very successful, and I was very blessed, and stumbled into my next place, which was, of course, going into management, which is the next obvious. And then I walked into a room with a bunch of guys one day. They were all in training. And I said, what are you guys doing? What have you learned? And they struggled to really answer some of the hard questions I gave them. I said, why don't you meet me at 6:30 the next morning, at 6:30 a.m., because I was too busy to meet with them during the day. And I'm like, if you guys will meet me at 6:30, I'll teach you some stuff. And that's when the light bulb went off that this is what I was supposed to be doing. So I took the sales career that was so good to me, and realized that I could follow my mom's footsteps, but in a different way. And so here I am today with a company that teaches people how to be successful. So that's sort of that's the shortened origin of how it all happened.
I love it. It's such a great story.
God's gift to me.
You've moved all the way through the industry, and now you're training people, and you've got this incredible platform that you operate from. It's so good.
It's so good.
That's a great story. So good. So we're really interested in helping women producers really figure out how to move through life, and you know, like you just said, you get this career that's just so good to you. So How can women producers be brave in the mortgage industry and ask for what they need?
Woo. Well, so I sort of fast tracked how I got to where I am now. I didn't really share all the intimate, fabulous details of the struggles that, and all the struggles that it took to get here, right? I made it sound really simple. Oh, I just walked into a room. I happened to be blessed after I built that training to move into, I was in a leadership role before that, but I was a producing manager, the traditional producing manager in the industry. And I really everybody kept coming to me and asking me questions, and I felt like leadership is what I was supposed to do as well. That was before I became an executive of that mortgage company. But it was hard. It was hard. I'm going to tell you. I remember some sage advice I received, and I hope that all the ladies, and it was from a guy, which, by the way, I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for the men who spoke into me and who taught me so many valuable lessons. But I'll remember wanting to be promoted. Oh, I just wanted to be promoted because that's the next, I mean, we all want to grow as people. Last thing you want to do is be stagnant and stuck, right? And I wanted to be promoted. And I went to my boss and said, hey, I'm highly respected. I'm one of your top biggest producers. I built the training. I want the next. And I just remember him looking at me and he said, this was before I got the promotion. And he said, before I'd even built the training, because I kept going, this is before I wanted to be a producing manager. And he said, Casey, if I promote you, everybody's going to quit. I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like,
what? Yeah.
I mean, I'm a good producer. Everybody's coming to me. He said, yeah, but you're missing the most important factor in growth and being a leader. And I okay. He goes, it's not about you. It's not about you. The minute you realize that it's about them is when you'll become a leader. And when I promote you, they will applaud me, not begrudge me and go, what were you thinking? Because they all still think it's about you. And I was so mad. Oh, I was ladies, I was mad. I was like, that was, by the way, there was another major lesson he gave me as well. But that one, I was mad. So I decided I was set out to, I'm like, I am going to help other people because I believe that's my gifting and that's what I want to do. But I realized what he said, like people respected me, but they didn't want to work for me. And so I set out to help everybody without getting any accolades. I'd meet them on nights and weekends. I'd do anything I could to help build them up and get them to the next level. And I remember when I got the big promotion, I could not begin to tell you how many people said, thank you, you are awesome, and so glad you're in the role. And it wasn't just about respecting my talent, but respecting me as a person. So that was some sage advice. So what I would tell to women today, that you want that next thing, the first thing I'd tell you is be a master of your trade. Know your job better than anybody else. I mean, better than anybody else. Because to ask to go to the next level means now you got a new level of learning to go into. And you don't have time to master the trade and master that leadership role. And so I don't think there's any fear at all. If you don't think you're worthy of it, they won't think you're worthy of it.
Yeah.
So you got to have some confidence and cojones, I'm Spanish, to be able to walk into your boss's office and say, hey, I need, and by the way, the industry's not good about this. They're really bad about giving good feedback. You know how you do annual reviews in the traditional sense of
Who gets that?
You don't get that in the mortgage business. And you don't even get real legitimate counsel, right? You're like, hey, let's deal structure, pricing problems. I got a client that's mad, blah, blah. You're managing a pipeline. But where do you get real honest feedback? And unfortunately, most people, you're only as good as the leader you report to. And if your leader falls short and they're not somebody who can pour into you, man, you got to really be thinking, how do I grow? I have had some of the worst leaders, I will not name names, that did not help me grow at all. And so you have to go around them. You have to figure out how, listen, my investment's in myself, and the more I invest in me is the more I can invest in others. And so I would recommend any woman right now who really would like to get to the next level. The first thing I do is go to my boss, who is the closest to me, who knows the strengths and weaknesses I have. I would go to my peers. I would go to anyone around you and say, hey, you've already I'm assuming you've identified where you want to go next, but I would ask them, what are the strengths for me to do the next job? And what are the areas or the gaps, not weaknesses? We all have gaps. Weaknesses are not the right word. What gaps do I need to fill in order to get to the next level? And
I really love that you said it's not weaknesses, it's gaps. Mm-hmm. So good.
Yeah. So we all have them. We all have them. I have gaps today, and how do I get better? How do I get better?
I also like the working around your manager if you feel like you're not connecting with your manager. I think there's a lot of people out there that feel that way sometimes. Mm-hmm. I've had times in my career where I felt that way, where maybe we're just not connecting, we're not seeing eye to eye, and you have to be subtle, you have to be good, you have to be gentle. I'm a bit of a bulldozer that's gotten me in trouble a couple of times, but yeah.
I've made a few people not like me too much when I was the bulldozer, for sure. I've learned how to be a bulldozer around.
Age helps,
not over, right?
So, it helps a little, not much.
Right.
So you kind of answered both of our questions, I think, in the first answer, but I'm gonna skip to one. And what words of advice do you have for women who are looking to change companies? Let's say they can't get past that manager, they don't feel like they're in a good fit. What words of advice do you have?
Yeah, I've always not been a big advocate of you have to change companies, but sometimes you do. I mean, the reality is you've gone to as far as you can go and you're not getting that recognition. The first thing that I tell anybody who interviews with me, and I mean anybody, and I'm hoping the ladies can hear this, the number one question you have about the new company, and most people will go, hey, what are your products, pricing, services? Can you tell me about your operations? Tell me about your overlap. I mean, all those questions are not as relevant as who will I report to? Who's going to feed into my life? And if you're only like your manager right now, and believe me, I have had some of the worst leaders and managers in the country. And when you go, you're only going to be as good as them. Who do you learn from every day? And so I would really appeal with who is the best leader in the company that I can report to. And that's who's going to help you grow. Now, if by chance you're in a company right now that you don't have a great leader, you can still grow. That leader's not holding you back. And let me tell you, more people will accuse the leader of holding them back. I wouldn't be sitting here if I was dependent on my leaders. I promise you that. Because I've had so many bad ones. It's who are the good ones in that company? And are there some that are highly respected? Have you personally reached out to them to say, hey, I want to learn from you? Because I'll promise you this, that you will absolutely get people go, you want to learn from me? Absolutely, I'll help you. And and they won't even charge you, and they're in your own company, and say, can I have a monthly call from you where you can just share with me what you did personally to get to the next level? And just listen intently as you assess your own skill set as to what did they do to get where they are. But so you should not.
Much wisdom in that case.
I would agree with that. I think everybody wants to talk about what made them successful. Very few people want to hold it a secret.
But so many people want to run away when it's hard. Like, people think, well, it's got to be better at another company. I'm just out. I'm just going to go.
Hey, here's the reality. There's bad leaders in every company. There's not one that doesn't have perfect leaders, and they aren't holding you back. You're holding you back. That's what you got to remember. Yeah. You're holding you back. And I've always said the bad leaders have taught me what I don't want to be like. Like, okay, I'm not going to be like that when somebody comes to my office, and I'm definitely not going to treat them that way, and I'm not going to demean them, and I'm going to build them up, not beat them up. So lots of opportunities there to really think through who in the companies that you respect, that you would like to emulate, call them and ask them.
Nice.
So good. Such good advice. Such good advice.
I've been through my struggles. Trust me on that. And
What is your favorite negotiation secret?
Ooh. All right. Well, if I give it away, now everybody's going to ask. By the way, I learned this when I was, how old was I? 17 years old. I was putting myself through school. I remember this one guy. So anyway, I'll give you all some context. I was doing a painting job on the side. I was trying to figure out how I could clean houses on the side or clean office buildings. I'm 17, trying to figure out my life. And I remember saying to this guy, hey, I'll clean your office building for you. He goes, okay. And he says, what are you going to charge me? And I told him a number. I'm like, I don't know, $17 or something. He goes, lesson number one in negotiation. I said, what? He goes, I was going to pay you 3 times that. Never give the number out first. I was like, okay, but I'll take how much you were going to pay me. So every time I went to quote a job at 17, the guy would go, what do you charge? And go, well, what are you willing to pay? And it was always more than I was going to charge.
Because women always underbid themselves 100% of the time.
Right. You need to say, and they say, you know, I want to raise. Let's say you're walking in and saying, hey, I think it's time for us to do a review of my income. And they go, okay, what do you want? And say, hey, I want you to really just assess where we are today. And you decide what that number is. And then I'll tell you if I'm happy with it. Because they'll definitely outbid what you thought you were going to get for a raise.
Yeah.
You'll have a number in your head, but try to let them give you the number first. So that's fine.
Genius.
Yeah, I had to learn that the hard way. I also had to learn how to sign checks with a pen when I was 15 years old, when I was working part-time. I couldn't find it. I did a pencil. And the guy goes, you don't sign checks with the pencil. Now, everybody listening in do not know probably what checks are, but anyway.
You might.
I'm aging myself for sure.
So Casey, what's your one empowering idea that you want to share with women producers?
Women producers. Women producers. Listen, we have empathy at a level that most don't, right? We have a consumer that's sitting across the table and or talking to us on the phone. I would always recommend you video with your clients so they can get to see you, because there's a connection. As it is proven that the majority of the decision makers in homes are women. So you might have a lot more women on the phone than others. Are you asking? Are you really asking? Because you're empathetic, they get it, they know you care, you're going to look at the details. Are you really asking for referrals properly? If you want to exponentially grow your business, then get really refined about how you ask for referrals. Because people want to help other people, and they will do business with people that are referred at 10 times more than those that are just given a name without a warm handoff. So get really good at asking for referrals, but you can only ask for referrals if you deserve it, right? Most people, I'm going to add a little caveat, ask for referrals on the front end, not the back end.
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Most people wait until the loan closes, and that is way too late. There's a thing called a reticular activator that literally causes people to have a higher sense of awareness, right? When you're pregnant, everybody's pregnant. When you buy a red car, everybody's got the red car. So when you're buying a house, everybody's buying a house. So you don't want to wait until you're closing, because then everybody's got it's closed on their home. So you want to say, while you just finished the application, you want to lean in very carefully and say, I so appreciate your business. You've already earned it, by the way. So I learned this from a top producer early in my career, who said, if you wait till closing, it's too late. And I'm like, yeah, but don't I need to wait to show them that I'm really good? He goes, they gave you their social security number and basically stripped naked, giving you everything. You've earned their business. He said, so you have to ask on the front end. Ask on the front end and watch what happens. And by the way, anybody who does this and shifts and says, man, I'm never asking until too late, it'll improve your business right away. So that's for producers specifically who want to get better at producing. But
that's so good. So good. Tell us
what she does.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell us about the company and what y'all do.
What we do, we help people get to the next level, whether you're in sales, whether you're a leader, how to actually lead effectively with empathy and love and care and compassion, and with discipline and accountability as part of your makeup as a leader. We help salespeople go to the next level, which is if they're doing 5 units, 50 units, 100 units, doesn't matter. We have programs for them. And then we have programs for processors, operations, help them. The part that I get really fired up about, not only about helping that group, is helping the industry at large, as we train people how to become a brand new LO or a brand new processor, So we are sort of the feeder system for the industry. And man, they go through an extensive amount of classes and lessons. And when they finish, they should have a lot of pride because they know more than most loan officers on the street. So that gets me really fired up. But just our vision at Zenix is, and mission is to transform every life we touch, no matter who it is. We want everybody to leave as a better human being as a result of knowing us. And so that's behind the scenes of Zenix, if you will, as to what we do.
How can people find Zenix?
Really easy, Zenix.com. And Zenix is not Xanax or Xenix, or it is Zenix, XINNIX.com. Again, 2 X's on the end, INNI in the middle, .com. They can find us easy. We're the only ones out there. There is a bus company I heard opened. They don't have very good reviews, that bus company. I don't even know if they're still open. They didn't sound very good.
If you spell it wrong, it takes you to some questionable websites.
Be careful. We were there first. So I did copyright the name, but there's some imitators out there. So, but yeah, they're not, there's a Zenix with 1 N. When we first opened Zenix and we did our research, etc., there's one N, and it's a disinfecting technology company in Switzerland. But with 2 N's, we were the only ones there. So we're awesome. 2 N's in the middle, 2 I's, 2 X's.
Hang tight for just a second, Casey.
Okay.